Hello everybody, my name is Connor, and we are back on Purple Yellow Croc. We actually won all of our dice rolls during this tournament, but we had been going second and it had not been working out, so we won this one, and I said, I'm gonna go first. I feel like with Croc, there is kind of, it's not as, because you're ramping and like your Dawn's changing so much, I haven't found like a turn order that fits best. I did end up kind of liking going first in this tournament though, because 3 Dawn turn here, I end up attaching a Dawn, swinging 6, and then I get to play Miss Valentine, which is really nice. And I was hoping to play out Miss Valentine in hopes to find a Croc, and I don't. So I take Miss Wednesday because Miss Wednesday is just so good for the ramp. And thankfully in my opening hand here, I do have a Yamato. And so that kind of, to me, I'm thinking, okay, I can take life a little more freely because I will gain some life back. And I think I have a Kikanojo in my hand too, if I saw correctly. My cat is kind of standing right in front of my screen right now. Yeah, there's Kikanojo. So yeah, I do have Kikanojo as well. So I do have some life gain, which is great. So my opponent, they play out Tashigi, and they use their Tashigi effect to minus Miss Wednesday, make Miss Wednesday a 0. I can't remember if Tashigi is a -3 cost or a -2. But if you guys don't know what Smoker's ability is, when you have a enemy character with a cost of 0, or I think it's just a character with a cost of 0, he gains 1,000 power. So, he gets to swing, or Smoker gets to swing 7k at me, and that's annoying. So we get the Miss Valentine off of trigger, and we search, and I'm thinking about taking double finger for the 2k, but I have Kikanojo in my hand, so like I want to take the Okam away, and I do, and I don't know if that was like the smartest play, but I like what I have in my hand. I know I have the Miss Valentine, or the Miss Wednesday. Too many misses, you know. So and I have a 2k. So, and as I mentioned, I have that Yamato, so I can take life pretty freely. I do need to work on getting my my opponent down to 3 life so we can benefit from the Kikanojo. But we are on our 5 Dawn turn, and I don't want that Tashigi, because I don't want Smoker to hit me for 7k when all he does is attach 1 Dawn. So I go ahead and I swing 6 into Tashigi. I could have swung 6 into life, but I was kind of, the way I played this game was kind of like playing the long game, like kind of making sure that Smoker's board was cleared, and just, doing my best to keep, stay afloat until I saw the big bodies I need. So we go ahead and tap 4, play Bon Clay, we get another Dawn back, and I did, my opponent is one of my best friends. I did bully them into, every time they thought about killing Bon Clay, I called them a monster, because how could you, he's Bon Clay. And you see I fixed my camera there, and I thumbs up because I think it's good. I ended up fixing it a little bit more, and because my friend let me, and I'm gonna go ahead and cut until it's fixed. Alright, so it is fixed. You can see more of my field, and they play out another Tashigi, and I was like, bro, seriously? So they minus Miss Valentine. They get the extra oomph on Smoker, and they swing 7 at my face, my handsome crocodile face. Not yet though, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm trying to think about my next play while they're thinking about what they want to do here. They go ahead and swing 7, and part of me is like, okay, like I can counter this, I can Okam away, but I don't really want to counter it. So I end up taking, and we get the Capone, unfortunately. I mean, fortunately, we get Capone, but unfortunately not much we can do. And then my opponent, they go ahead and tap 2 and play out Oh, I can't remember. Subaru blocker. I'll put a picture of the card on screen. Honestly, I really like that blocker. I don't know how like viable it is, but for, you know, me, it posed a problem. You know, I don't have a lot of ways to like remove things like that. So here I am sorting out my Dawn, trying to figure out what I want to do. And I want to drop Miss Wednesday, and I need to get rid of Tashigi. So I go ahead and swing 4 with Bon Clay at Tashigi, just copying Tashigi. Just trying to see if I can get, you know, my opponent to use the blocker or what. And they counter out with the Hina blocker, which if you don't know about that Hina blocker, we're going to talk about that Hina blocker later. That blocker is I mean, in my opinion, that blocker is gas, dude. But we go ahead and we attach 2 to Miss Wednesday, and we swing 4, or Miss Valentine, excuse me, because at this point my thought is, okay, the only thing I can do is play Miss Wednesday, so I only need the 3 Dawn, and this is great because my opponent, they go ahead and they give me that Subaru blocker, and I think it's Subaru, I hope it's Subaru, and that's, you know, in the words of Forrest Gump, that's good, one less thing. So I go ahead and I attach another 4. I say, get this bitch off the field. And they finally let her go, and I'm like, finally, like, and I go ahead and I tap 3, and I play out and bump my camera, and I play out Miss Wednesday. And I'm pretty pleased with that. I think I actually don't swing here. Yeah, so I end up not swinging, and my thought process was, I can see that, you know, they're getting kind of low on cards in hand, and if I feel like if I can kind of not starve them of cards in hand, but I guess kind of starve them, you know, then they won't be able to counter, and then I can start swinging life. So they end up tapping 4 and playing Borsalino, and I hate Borsalino. He's a difficult blocker for me to get around. I feel like on any deck I play, like, I just struggle to get rid of Borsalino, because of the effects, really. And so he drops the Borsalino, and I'm immediately like, oh, Borsalino, dude, come on. And I don't know, I'm trying to think of what they can be doing. They're running a really off-meta deck, and you know, they built it themselves, and I don't know if it's been updated since EB01. They haven't been able to make it to a tournament recently, so this was the first tournament they've been at in a little bit, but we did talk about some cool things they could add to the deck. So they go ahead and swing the 5 at Miss Valentine, and I let her go. She's done more than enough. They go ahead, tap 2, and they play on another Subaru. And I'm honestly, like, I think that's from the starter deck. So I top deck Katakuri, and I am like, I know exactly where Borsalino is going. This is how I get around Borsalino. And so we're at our 10 Dawn turn, which we didn't ramp super fast in this game. It was kind of, we did get some ramp with the Bon Clay, but I didn't feel like it was as needed in this game because this game was kind of slow. So I go to swing 5, and then I swing 6, and I have Bon Clay copy Borsalino, and they take it. So there we go. We got them down a life. We are doing it. Kikinojo is gonna be ready to play any day now. Don't worry. And they end up actually getting the Meteor Volcano trigger, and I'm like, oh, okay. So I think it's a draw 2, discard 1. And yep, it is a draw 2 and discard 1. I think they discard. I can't remember. Oh, whiteout, I think. is what it's called. So I put the 1 Dawn aside because before I swing with Croc, and I hope you guys notice, I count my Dawn now. I am terrified of playing poorly and like doing that thing where I tap 8, but really I only tap 7 or whatever, miscounting my Dawn. So I made sure, like, even though I could clearly see like 10 minus 2, like I made sure that I had 8 Dawn. So I go ahead and swing 5, and they go ahead and take, and we played the Katakuri for 8 Dawn, and put Borsalino at the bottom of life, and I think I'm honestly I'm really happy with that. I think putting for someone who struggles against like dealing with Borsalino, like that was a godsend. You know, the fact that they played Borsalino and then I top decked one of my 2 Katakuris. Oh, this is like probably the only game this tournament where I feel like things go like perfectly well. The next 2 games I'll be posting are like great. Like I think they were really good games. I had fun playing them, especially the Sakazuki match. And honestly, the black yellow Luffy match was really fun. And we kind of both didn't see what we wanted, but it was still pretty good. So this was like the only game that went my way. I gotta kind of, pamper Croc and, make him remember that he loves me. And they go ahead and they play out the stage. I think it's Marineford. And then on play it minuses 1. And then when tapped it minuses another. So Katakuri gets a minus by 2. Which makes him a 6. Quick maths. And they go ahead and play out the Ice Age. Minusing him by 5. So he's a 1 cost now. And then I think Smoker has a -1 as well. Yeah, Smoker has a -1 on his attack as well. And so I think at this point Katakuri is a 0 cost. And that's I didn't see what card that was. I'll put a picture up. But Katakuri gets dunked, which is super unfortunate. That was going to be a really heavy swing going into life, and that was going to help us, chip away at Smoker's life. But getting rid of the Borsalino was good enough for me. I'm content with that outcome. So yeah, I do really feel like I play this like this is the slow game. And honestly, like I think I've said it already, but I do feel pretty happy about how I played this out. So they're gonna go ahead and they add another Dawn to Smoker, and I think they swing 7. There's no character with a cost of 0, and I go ahead and Okama away. Croc ability, get it back, and I send it into Miss Valentine, and yeah, so I don't hate that. I think the reason I did it is because I didn't think that Yamato would get a lot of value just KOing the Subaru there, and so I didn't want to go to 1 life. I feel like I do hold on to Yamato for a bit, and then they play out this Smoker card, and one of the annoying things about Smoker in a similar way to Borsalino is a lot of Smoker cards can't be KO'd by effects. So they go ahead and swing 3 into Bon Clay, and I miss Wednesday that. And I get Ragnarok. So Ragnarok this card is new to my list. After playing Purple Luffy, I was like, I love Ragnarok. It's such a good card. I'm obsessed. This is how I get rid of Katakuris. This is how I get rid of, other big cards. I can't think of another. Oh, Gecko Moira. Thank you. There he is. And so I took out my Blast Breaths and I put in 2 of the Ragnaroks. And the updated Decklist will be down below. And it feels pretty good, honestly. So with Bon Clay, I have him copy. I think that Smoker is a 4K, if I'm not mistaken. And swing into Blocker, and Subaru they go ahead and let Subaru go. And I'm trying to figure out what I want to do here. So I swing 7 into life, and they go ahead and take, making... So now they're at 3 life. Now Kikanojo can do Kikanojo things. And I'm trying to figure out if it's worth, like, using a Maru or, you know, playing anything I have in my hand. And, like, at this point in the game, like, it to me, it feels kind of silly to have 4 Dawn up. But I don't see a reason to use all my Dawn. Like, I don't... Like, I know that's probably not the greatest, but with everything I have in my hand, like, I'm pretty happy about this play. And, like, Ragnarok won't work on that smoker, so there's not really a point. And then, like, Amaru, like, I didn't want to tap Miss Wednesday, because I feel like if all of a sudden, you know, my opponent drops, like, I don't even know if there are Rush Black characters, but it just seemed important to have a Miss Wednesday up and not attacked at. But they go ahead and they minus Miss Wednesday and play Kobe, and they end up KOing Miss Wednesday. So maybe I should have just swung, but I did not expect that Kobe. That Kobe is actually, like, I like that Kobe card a lot. I know when I was starting back in OPO3, that was like one of the only cards that could KO low cost characters. So they go ahead. Okay, it's gotta be. Is it a 5 cost? They end up swinging into Bon Clay, and I have to let Bon Clay go. And we were laughing because I, you know, called them toxic, because, you know, how do you kill Bon Clay? And they go ahead and they attach a Dawn, swing 6, I believe. And I go ahead and take it, and thank God we see a Croc. I'm like, okay, like, I'm feeling pretty good. And then they drop that blocker Hina, and maybe I'm missing something. Maybe, you know, both of us are missing something, because I know that they play that blocker Hina in a lot of their black decks. And that blocker Hina is, I think, if I'm not mistaken, and I'll put a picture of her up here, the ability reads, on block, you know, you make it so an opponent's 6 cost, I think, can't attack. A 6 cost or less can't attack. So, I feel like it's pretty good. It definitely made me think about what I wanted to do. Like, okay, so I swing Kikanojo into Kobe. They go ahead and let him go, which is understandable. But thankfully, at this point in the game, I don't have a lot of 6 costs. I have Kikanojo, but I'm playing Yamato, I'm playing Croc. If I was on a different deck, though, it'd be a different story. If I was playing Purple Luffy, I feel like everything in that deck is like 4 to 5 cost. That blocker, I feel like, could just kind of wreck shop. So I go ahead and swing 7 into that smoker. As I said, just kind of clearing my opponent's board. And then counting my Dawn, count 8, and I drop Croc. And I Dawn -2. And I gain a life. And I think I'm just explaining to them what Croc does, because, as I mentioned, they haven't been able to make it to a tournament in a bit, so they might be a little rusty, and I know that they haven't seen my Croc sauce yet. Oh, I hated that, honestly. Croc sauce, I hated that. Anyway, back to the game. So I'm trying to think about, like, what I can do here. I feel like I could, if they swing, I don't think they're going to swing into Kikanojo because of the life gain that Kikanojo has. And I feel like Yamato could get some good value here. Depending on what they play, of course, because that Hina blocker, if I remember, is a 5 cost. So currently we're all at 5, but if I take a life, then Yamato won't help me gain a life, but yeah, so and the thing about one of the things I really love about playing like off meta decks is I don't know what's gonna happen. I have no idea what my opponent's gonna drop on me. So I go ahead and I Croc ability, and I am just cycling out some cards, and this was a hard choice. I didn't want to drop any of my 2Ks. I didn't want to drop Ragnarok, and I wanted the 1K counter. I felt like the 1K counter was more beneficial than Amaru. But I do end up taking the life, and I get Arrow out of life. So I go ahead and I trigger Arrow, and I trash the Miss Wednesday and I go to trash Miss Doublefinger, but I've been trashing Mr. 13 and Miss Friday all night, so I had to keep the trend going. And I go ahead and gain a life. Shout out to Arrow. Yeah, it's super lucky with that trigger. I don't know if it would have had like a huge like difference if I didn't get that life, but with how much cards I had, or how many cards I had in my hand, I was okay with that. So my opponent swings, I think 8 at life, and I just go ahead and take it, and I get another Croc, dude. Oh, it is good. It is good to be the favorite. They go ahead and drop. They drop Strawberry. I kind of like Strawberry. Like, as I said, my opponent's playing a off meta deck and pretty off meta build, if you will, of an off meta deck. But I kind of like Strawberry. I think if I remember it correctly, lets you or doesn't let you activate a blocker, I think, which is nice. That definitely makes it harder to play around, and like, you know, against like any deck that runs blockers. Like Croc doesn't have a ton of blockers, but like this Gecko Moira, you know, things like that. So I go ahead and swing 7. I think in Nahina here. And yep, I swing 7 in Nahina. They go ahead, let it go, and I'm counting my Dawn. And since that is a 4 cost, it is perfect time to drop Yamato. I bump my camera some more. Go ahead, gain a life. And I'm feeling pretty good. Like, I know that they don't have a lot on their board. I am establishing a big board, and I am just regenning life. So I swing 9, and my opponent only has 1 card, so they have to take. And then I go ahead and poke with 5 just to see, and they get rid of one of their they get rid of one of their cards, which is great. So they have 1 card in hand, and this is kind of where I wanted them. I could, like, I'm thinking that, you know, the chances are they get, you know, the chances are that I could finish them depending on what they play. I could finish them this next turn. And I think I do misplay a little bit towards the end of the game here, and I think it's this next turn that I have. So my opponent's trying to figure out what they want to do. And I'm thinking that next turn... Excuse me, I'm thinking that next turn I'm going to drop Croc. If they, you know, are able to get out of some attacks. They end up swinging 5, and I 2k out. They tap all their Donna, and they play 2 Hina blockers. And so I was like, oh shit. Because I thought, at this time, oh, I could only KO, or they can stop. It's a Capone, they can stop anything. In a little bit here, I go ahead and read the card, and I let the game go on for another turn, but I think I had lethal this turn, honestly. So I asked them if I can read it, and yeah, it says a character 6 or less, which, like, a 6 cost, that's a big cost. Like, that's a big character. So I figure, you know, I I go ahead. I swing with Kikinojo first. Hina can't block. Or Hina can't stop any of it. So they go ahead and they take life. And all they have is Borsalino. So I'm trying to figure out what I want to do. I go ahead, swing 8, and they block with Hina. And here realistically, I should have played the Ragnarok and gotten rid of the other Hina. I didn't. So they swing. I swing 9 into them with the Yamato, and I go ahead and they go ahead and take it. I swing 5 here, or 6, excuse me. I can count, and they block in 2K or 1K, excuse me, and. Yeah, so I think I end up dropping... Do I drop Yamato? Why would I drop Yamato? Oh, no, I see there's a Dawn under Kikinojo, so I drop Croc, and it's the pretty Croc. So I get back to 3 life. I absolutely could have ended the game last turn, and I told my opponent that. I was like, oh, I think I had lethal, like I could have done this. And they were like, oh yeah, no, you could have done that. I was like, I don't know, like I glossed over Ragnarok for a second. It was my plan, and then they played the 2 Hinas, and I was like, what do I do? I think part of it was not fully like remembering what Hina's ability did. So I'm really happy that I got to read it, and that's something I've been doing more often. And something I encourage people to do is, if you don't know a card or are unfamiliar with a card or a leader, just ask your opponent if you could read it. Like, it's a little awkward, but it makes it a lot easier to, play the game. So my opponent here swings 8 at life, and I take it. We get the Miss Wednesday, and this is kind of where I want to be with Croc, like a big hand size, low life that I'm just getting back every turn. Like that's the dream with Croc, is ramp to be able to drop your big bodies and just go for it. So they go ahead and swing at life again, and I get the Okam away. And they drop Borsalino here. And they have 1 in hand. And I get another Croc. This is the most Crocs I've seen all night. So I'm thrilled. I'm sad it's against my friend, but I'm thrilled for me. I love when the deck does what it's supposed to do. But yeah, so we're at 10 Dawn. And they have 1 card and a blocker. So I swing 7 with Kikinojo, and I swing a butt ton with Croc, and with the pretty Croc specifically, and we get the game. So super excited about that. I'm really happy with how I played, and just it was very helpful that I saw what I needed to see. That is very helpful. And yeah, my friend and I did talk about Smoker and like what Smoker could add. So if you have any ideas for a Smoker deck, let me know, though, because I love Smoker, and I definitely want to be trying more decks in the future. And I actually, on Sundays, instead of doing random sim videos, I think we will be starting the Iron Man challenge. So I don't know if we're going to start it this Sunday or next Sunday, but yeah, we will be starting the Iron Man challenge soon, which is I have to win with every leader in the game, and I'll have a Google Doc updated. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be really fun. I think it's gonna be really fun, and I wanted to do something a little fun like that. And my friend Gecko mentioned the Iron Man challenge, and I said yes, that sounds good. But that is going to do it for me, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you guys liked this video, hit that like button down below. It helps me out more than you could ever know. Go ahead and subscribe if you are new. And I will see you guys in the next video. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day.